All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been
Welcome
grinding all my
to
life.
Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com, Facebook Live, Twitter, Periscope. If you want to find us, you can find us. We are everywhere. Mr. Worldwide over here. I'm Sterling Holmes live in studio. Darren Smith live from his home studio. Darren, how you doing on this gloomy Tuesday?
I'm doing good, man. I started to come in, but man, the rain hit, and I'm like, I'm not finna drive way out to the station. I have to drive way up north to cover the NAIA tournament tonight. So I said I'm gonna just go and just do the show from the house today.
You're lucky. It's disgusting outside. I hate this weather. I just want a nap. I just want a nap.
Well, I mean, first of all, if you know, there are people who are in worse off positions than us. So I'm not gonna say that I want to take a nap. Look, I want to have respect for those who are actually out here in these streets, not only listening to us but actually working hard, for what they're trying to do, man. So you gotta have a little respect for these people.
Well, yeah, but they don't like this. No one likes this. No one, if given the opportunity, is going to be all over this weather.
They would they would rather have this than a snow on the ground. Trust me.
Sure, but
Okay.
Dude, it's March 23rd. Give me sunny and 75, okay?
Hey, it is officially springtime, okay?
That's my point. It's officially spring, and Mizzou is already knocked out of the tournament, so I have
KU
nothing going for me.
KU is too, so let's jump right into things, man.
It's that meme where it's like KU, Mizzou fans, and them shaking hands because that's what it's like right now. Both teams knocked out. Big 12 not looking good. At least they're not doing as bad as the Big 10 as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, to have your teams basically there's only one team left out of the Big 10, 1 out of 9 that got a chance to actually make it and play in the tournament to actually and only one team, which is Michigan, which did it last night with their win over LSU, make it to the Final Four. So look, I'm real shocked and surprised. I thought Illinois and Ohio State would do much better than what they did, and the fact that both of those teams got knocked out. I think Illinois won the first game, but obviously they got knocked out the second game, and Ohio State being knocked out in the first round, something that my bracket and other brackets were not expecting. Now, I expected Ohio State and Illinois and Michigan and I still have Michigan losing before they got to the Final Four, but not by the teams that knocked them off.
So let's start with last night's game.
Yeah.
Kansas, USC, the Mobley brothers. KU had no, I don't want to say heart, but they had no answer for the Mobley brothers. I have no idea. I mean, Bill Self is a hell of a coach. There's no denying Bill Self is a hell of a coach. This was not his best team, and this was not his best season, not his best performance. What did you take away from last night's beatdown that USC put on Kansas?
Well, I almost said something that was probably going to get us in trouble. While watching the game, I had questions about Bill Self's Hall of Fame credentials or bona fides, but I was real disappointed because a part of me was thinking, okay, where are the adjustments at? There were, and to be honest, I actually compared last night's beatdown to what Kansas City faced during the Super Bowl. Where were the adjustments at? There seemed to have been no adjustments whatsoever. And look, the excuses that he made post game about, we need to get bigger, blah, 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 blah. Man, that comes to recruiting. That comes to you, Bill Self. I mean, you aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing as it relates to the product that you put out there on the floor. Now, everybody has, this was pretty much a level playing field throughout the year, with players who were able to come, players that you were able to go out there and recruit. Yeah, you could say a little bit might have to do with some of the charges or the sanctions that you might face with the NCAA, but as long as that's tied up in whatever little judicial or collegiate court system that they utilize, I don't think that should be much of an issue. I mean, look, if you look at the fact that Duke and North Carolina and Kentucky, they were all down compared to what KU was. Look, they were still 21-8 going into this game. 21-9 coming out of it. I mean, look, they had a chance, and they should have been better coached, better prepared, and better utilized going into last night's game. I know, I know you just had David McCormick coming back Saturday, but again, to me, if you're a Hall of Fame coach and this is the best that you're able to do without making any type of adjustments or whatever, I it's just, let me just say, it's just disappointing. I don't want to say, they need to go look in a different direction. I'm not gonna jump the shark just that quickly, but Bill Self really should look in the mirror and and see whether or not he's all in or not, because the team that he put out there last night is a reflection of his coaching, and he did not do a good job last night, especially with the third worst loss in the university's history. Their worst loss came in 1900. So you only had one loss that was worse than this over the last 120 years. Man, look, to me, there's no excuse for that.
The Pac-12 has been surprisingly good. I mean, USC came into this tournament hot. They were looking good, but not good enough to put a beat down like this on Kansas. Kansas, I don't know where they go. I don't know where they're game. Like, we'll get to Mizzou in a second, because that's a whole nother disaster, and I'm not even gonna. We'll get to that in a second. But if you're Kansas, David McCormick, he was there. He was healthy. I mean, he was back. You even got Jalen Wilson, your stud, youngster, back, and he didn't do anything. What's going to happen with Garrett and Abaji? What does this team look like next year? Because they're going to be losing some guys, and this was not a good year. This was a down year. We haven't heard a ton on the recruiting front from them, like you said. Where does Kansas go? Is this a one-year blip, or is this going to be a quote-unquote rebuild? Not the typical rebuild where they're going to miss the tournament, but a rebuild where this may be the best you can expect for a couple seasons.
Here's interesting. I mean, they did just as bad a couple of years ago when they lost in Salt Lake City. I think during the opening two rounds, and actually they might have lost in the first round if I remember correctly, in the NCAA tournament. So to be quite honest, they need to bring these players back, because one, they're not ready, like Abaji and maybe, and I think Garrett, I know he graduates, but I think you can get a free year. I think you can get an extra year of basketball because of COVID last year. So if I'm these players, if I'm Bill Self, I'm bringing them back, because one, I got this thing where, for me, I see Bill Self recruiting great players, but they don't really, it's hard sometimes for them to turn out to be great NBA players. I know Joel Embiid is right now an exception to the rule, but for a number of years, you had to worry about whether or not the man could play healthy or finish out a season or whatever, let alone be the superstar that everybody expected him to be. Andrew Wiggins. Obviously
Yeah.
he and Joel Embiid came in together, and they left for the draft together. But but Andrew Wiggins still has not become the superstar that you would hope that he was going to become, being the number one overall draft pick. Now
Josh
Devontae,
Jackson.
yeah, Josh Jackson, yeah, he was. I thought, and I was wrong. I thought that he was going to turn out to be much bigger and better than West. Now he's playing well with the Detroit Pistons right now, and then of course we look at Devontae Graham. He's starring in his role down with the Charlotte Hornets. So I mean, he's had some successes. There are others I still kind of question. But a lot of people talked when he came in, Abaji, when he kind of exploded his freshman year, that perhaps that he has that NBA body, he has that NBA look. But for me, it's hard for me to say that someone is a surefire NBA pick, to where, okay, if they're going to be an NBA pick, I need them to be able to explode on the college scene. I need them to be able to take over games. I need them to be able to lift your team up, when nobody else steps up. Like, if you're going to be that guy that's going to be playing at the next level, you definitely cannot be getting outplayed by other players who are not going to be able to sniff an NBA roster. And that's something that I personally have a problem with, because because it's like, okay, you're drafting these high, or you're recruiting these high talented players, but if you can't get them, to step up when the lights are bright, man, I can't do anything for you, and I'm all about wins and losses. So that being the case, Looking at things, KU, they need those players to come back. If they have players that are leaving school to go to to declare for the NBA draft, I wouldn't do it. I know Mitch Lightfoot is a senior. Hell, I think he might have graduated 2-3 years ago. He's been there forever.
he pulled an Aaron Kraft at Ohio State, where he seemingly is there for like 7 seasons.
Yeah, and he's going to be back again next year. So, if Mitch Lightfoot comes back, trust me when I tell you, all of them need to come back.
So the only one, maybe two, who even has a chance, in my opinion, of I don't even know if they get drafted, but at least D League or G League now, Marcus Garrett and Abaji. Marcus Garrett, I thought was going to take a next step this season. I didn't really see that from him. I thought if he could get a more dependable jump shot, we could see him be that 3-and-D type in the next level. I just don't think he has that in him. This Kansas team is not chock full of talent. I'm a little bit surprised. I know about all the allegations surrounding Kansas, but at the end of the day, it is still Kansas. I'm a Mizzou fan saying this. It's still Kansas. It's like Duke.
I agree.
It's like North Carolina. And that's what's weird is you're seeing these, and I don't know if it's a NCAA. I don't want to say it's a problem because I think it's good for overall college basketball. It's good seeing Loyola, Chicago. It's good seeing Gonzaga. It's good seeing the non-typical blue bloods put up great performances. It makes more parity in college basketball. But it is interesting to see schools like Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas all have down years. Do you blame that on COVID, or is this a new trend where there is more parity in college basketball?
No, it's more parity, but I will say for COVID reasons, I think it hurt more Duke and Kentucky because they rely more so now on the one and dones versus a team like Gonzaga. See, what I like, and to be quite honest, Kansas falls into this boat like Gonzaga. Gonzaga has a mixture in their starting lineup. They got 2 seniors. I think they have a junior, a sophomore, and a freshman. So you got that. So you got that mix of your talented star freshmen coming in, mixed with the upperclassmen who've been there and who've gone through the wars, over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Well, Kansas is kind of like that in a way too, because look, you obviously didn't get a chance to play in a tournament last year where you probably really had a good chance of winning it. And I can't remember who might have came out of that class last year. I know Quentin Grimes transferred to Houston, so I know he wasn't there.
Huge.
But but at the end of the day, you still had Abaji, you still had Lightfoot, you still had Garrett. Garrett was the National Defensive Player of the Year last year, and of course McCormick coming back. Getting a chance to spell dope. I mean, that's, again, to me, it's not an excuse. The talent is there, but to me, it was more so the coaching fell off than the talent.
Yeah, I mean, you had Doak and you had Dotson. That was a huge difference last year, and you didn't find a way to replace the numbers that they were putting up. That's huge. I think that they expected maybe McCormick was fine this year, but McCormick is not Doak. He's not going to be a legitimate game changer that teams scheme for. He's not Kofi, Coburn of Illinois. So I think that was tough for Kansas. Going to Mizzou really quickly, they fell to Oklahoma in the first round. I don't think it was much of a shock to anyone. Even as a Mizzou fan, the heartbreak is coming, but it somehow doesn't make it any easier when you lose by 3 points, 4 points, when you claw your way back. And then you're sitting there and you're looking at one of your best scorers the entire season, Xavier Pinson, maybe the only guy outside of Drew Smith who can create his own shot, sitting on the bench for almost the entire second half. He has 5 assists in the first half, and you throw in, and no disrespect to Drew Buggs, but he can't shoot. He can't, and he can't score. And after the game, everyone was wondering, was Pinson hurt? And he goes, no, I was healthy. He just wasn't playing me. Guanzo Martin tried proving a point instead of winning the basketball game. That, to me, is a fireable offense. You're in March Madness. It's win or go home. That is not the time to try and prove a point, however silly and stupid it is.
My only pushback to that is, again, KU suffered a third worst loss in the school's history. Bill Self's a Hall of Fame. It don't look like he had his team prepared or ready to play at all. Is that not a fireable offense?
No, because he's been to Final Fours. He's done it. You get some grace. You get some grace.
He got grace 2 years ago. He got grace 2 years ago losing in the opening round. I mean, and then, of course, they were in a position, obviously, outside of COVID, they might have won it all. But, again, look, I'm in the no excuse business. And you know me, I like to be consistent. But as it relates to what Kwanzaa did, now, correct me if I'm wrong, was he not shooting well? Was he like 1 of 8 from the field?
But that'd be like saying, okay, let's say, not to the same extent, obviously, but let's just say this Boston, say Jaylen Brown wasn't shooting good. You take out Jaylen Brown, even though he's carried you all season, and not even for a good player, not for someone else who can get you buckets. You put in for a guy who can't shoot, who legitimately cannot shoot. He has like the Ben Simmons syndrome. He won't shoot outside of 8 feet. Like, that to me makes zero sense when you are down. You're losing. You need to score. Put in your scores. Put in your best players. Take the guys who carried you to where you're at, play them.
Again, I don't disagree with that assessment. It's just, I think it's a little harsh to say that what Kwanzaa did was a fireable offense. I mean, if the guy, because you know what, I would compare that to John Starks in Game 7 of the NBA Finals with the Knicks. He was 3 of 19 shooting. Yeah, now maybe Pat Riley should have pulled him and earlier in the game or late in the ball game, so he's not shooting the team out of a chance to win a championship in Game number 7. Now, again, I'm not using no excuse, but I'm trying to make a comparison, so to speak, to where if he's not hitting anything, if he's not even hitting the ocean from out there, I mean, he could be more of a liability than than an insurance piece for the team. So, I mean, look, in the heat of battle, I mean, they lost by 4. I think, and to be quite honest, if anything, it was more troubling the last 37 seconds when they gained possession and the team, literally, dilly-dallied around.
Well, because
hold on, sir. No. But what I'm saying is, one, I don't think they had any more timeouts when that happened, unless they had a timeout and they called it before the foul or before they shot free throws. What I'm saying is that I could understand you'd have a problem with because, they ran the clock down and they didn't run any type of offense or whatever. Now, whether that player would have been in the game or not, the same thing could have still happened, where they would have looked out of control and not get a good shot off. I have more of an issue with them not having a good shot at the end to maybe tie or try to win the ball game versus, him not having a player in the ball game at that time.
Well, and that goes back, though, because that's your ball handler. You take your ball handler out and a guy who can shoot threes, you need a three-pointer, and you have in guys who can't shoot or handle the ball.
Yeah, but if he's one of 8 and he becomes 1 of 9, I mean, you just
guess what? He'll at least shoot it. They were scared to shoot the ball. You're down 3. What are you going to do? A turnover's not helping you. At least get a shot up. I mean, this is where I'm at with Kwanzaa Martin. I truly think he's a great human being. I think he's a great guy.
I appreciate knowing that.
Well, no, I do. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a fantastic defensive head coach. He is a miserable, one of the worst I have ever seen offensive-minded head coaches, hands down. I've never seen a lack of offensive game plan throughout a season. I've never seen a team rely on those big wins over the good teams that Mizzou beat early in the season against like Illinois and Oregon. Xavier Pinson was the reason. He was putting up 27 points. Xavier still had 5 assists in the first half. It's not like he was just turning the ball over every time he touched it. He was at least getting guys open.
I'd like to think Kwanzaa Martin still has something to do with that, doing the coaching, because to say that it's the worst you've seen this season, I don't know if you've been watching or paying too close attention to the NCAA tournament right now, so because it's been some horrible coaching jobs being done in this tournament right now. So
53 points against a 2-3 zone that happened this season with a Kwanzaa Martin offense. 53 points, not against Syracuse. We're not talking Syracuse. We're talking against Ole Miss. 53 points. At some point, though, I'm just saying this is a
51 last night. I'm just saying
against at least a good team. This was a senior veteran team. You had all your guys back. This was supposed to be your year. This was the best it's going to get under Martin. This is the best it's going to get. You just ran Xavier Pinson out. There's no chance Xavier Pinson's coming back next year. No chance.
I mean, that's fine. Xavier Pinson wasn't going to lead you to no national title either. So
he was your best player coming back. You just ran out your best player for next year. I don't want that as my head coach.
Well, if he's coming back, then I mean, you got nothing to lose going forward. So, look, I guess we agree to disagree, and you will never, ever, ever find me standing up for MU ever again after this conversation. But look, I was initially out on Kwanzaa, but you have convinced me to get that man one more year now.
No. I was in going into this year. You know me. I was all in. I said, all the people, calm down. We'll see some progress this year. We saw zero progress. All we saw was regression, and I'm off the train. And I wish him the best, but there's a reason why his guys stopped playing for him at other stops. There's a reason why guys left. There's reasons why. There's a reason why. When he came to Mizzou, the only guys he really got recruiting-wise were people that he knew. Michael Porter Jr. and Jonte were great gets. And he couldn't even – I mean, Jonte, he couldn't even really keep. There has to be underlying reasons. There's going to be a reason why Xavier Pinson isn't going to be coming back next season.
Well, all that being said, are you surprised at the way that the tournament has unfolded as far with all the upsets? I think it's been, I think if you look at the money line, it's been like 19 upsets since the start of the tournament. Are you surprised that Gonzaga and Michigan are the only, number one still remaining?
And Baylor.
Baylor. I'm sorry. Yeah, Baylor.
I would say
top seeds. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm surprised in the way that, like, Oral Roberts is still alive. I'm not, Oral Bobs, the old Bobby boys are still there. But no, I'm not surprised with a team like Syracuse or USC or UCLA or Oregon. I actually had Oregon versus USC in my bracket, and I have USC winning that game. So I'm pretty proud of that one. But I am surprised in, like you said, Ohio State. That was a huge upset.
Oklahoma State as well.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. I thought Cade Cunningham was going to carry him. I mean, what about you, Darren? Or are you surprised at the amount of upsets and high upsets that we've seen?
Well, first of all, I am, because my wallet took a hit. It was especially day one, because you and I have had the conversation that it's generally, but here are factors, and I can understand why. You generally, if the tournament was held regionally like it were in past years, I don't think you would have seen the amount of upsets of the type of upsets that you saw. But because you got all the teams that are here in one centrally located area, granted they're playing at around 6 or 8 different locations in Indianapolis. So you have the teams there. So there's really no home court advantage. And the fans that are there, I mean, you got maybe less than 1,000 people there, and most of them are up high. So it's not like they're like down right above you to where you can get that feel. That is something that works in the favor of the smaller schools versus the big schools. Because one, the smaller schools play in front of those type of crowds to begin with, versus the Kansas or Oklahoma State that has a full arena or gym that that can come out and see them. So we always talk about how important it is for a crowd factor and the fact that you feed off of it. Well, when you're and now I don't know if you know this from the telecast, but when you see these lower seeded schools that are playing them close or playing them tight, you ever notice how the not really the officiating, but but the people calling the games seem to be more in favor of the underdogs versus the blue bloods,
Sure.
And it just and it bothers me, because it's like, look, man, you mess with my money trying to cheer for for Oral Roberts to knock off Ohio State. Because look, I'm a big proponent that if you're a top seed, you need to be, and I talked about it during the football season. If you're the top seed, you need to prove why you're a top seed, why you came in number one or number two, in the seeded. I mean, there should be no reason why a team that's 15th or seeded number 15 should be able to go back and forth with you. And again, I don't know if some of that goes to coaching, some of that goes to preparation, some of that goes to players maybe just being overconfident or whatever, and the chips fall where they may. I don't know, but I don't like it, because again, I talked about Kansas not being prepared. I mean, maybe Bill Self went into that game knowing he was going to lose and just like, well, hey, I did what I can do, but nothing I can do about it. So, I mean, I'm not happy about how things turn out. My wallet ain't happy. But at the end of the day, look, this is a college game. These are young men that are playing it, and they're playing it at a potentially high level. But I will say this: one thing that does irk me is that whether you're in Division III, NAIA, or Division I, the hoop is still, or the goal is still 10 feet above the ground. The ball is still the same, whether you're playing an NAIA or Division I March Madness tournament. So when I see a team that was facing, oh gosh, who was I thinking about yesterday? Ohio, or Ohio playing Creighton, or the team. There was another team.
North Texas.
No, not Abilene Christian. Abilene
Okay.
Christian having problems with UCLA. I'm like, first of all, they were 24-5. I'm like, get the ball down to your big man, and and sometimes it's like fundamental. Get the ball to your big man, let him post up, eat down low, whatever. Try to play the inside-outside game, if nothing else. I mean, but man, when teams can't shoot and even throw the ball into the ocean, I got nothing for you. And to me, I don't know. I don't know if the players act like like they're afraid of the big stage or something. Because again, and like it was it's not like it was a packed house or anything. But
sure,
but you're 24-5, and then you get into the tournament, you can only score 47 points. Seriously.
I think sometimes the stage can be too large. You have some crazy upset and you ride that wave, and that was it. You got your 15 minutes or your one game. The stars lined up, and that was the one thing that they got. One team that has surprised a lot of people but shouldn't be a surprise is obviously Loyola Chicago. They came in as an 8 seed. They shouldn't have been an 8 seed. I mean, this is one of the best 8 seeds in NCAA history. They're big. My goodness. Looking like Farva from Super Troopers, absolutely putting in work on Kofi. I mean, Coburn is going to be an NBA player. He will go to an NBA team. He's probably not going to start. He's not today's NBA style, but 7 foot, broad shoulders, dominated the Big Ten. And you have this dude shorter than you, not as quick, not as athletic, absolutely giving you work. I think Loyola Chicago needs a lot more respect because this is a very, very good team.
You talking about the one with the sister for who does the praying again?
Yeah.
You know what? First of all, she getting too much credit, and so I got a problem with that. First of all, I love Sister Jean, and great story. A few years ago, she did the same thing. But if people think the power of prayer worked for that, then she needs to pray that they win a national title versus knocking off a number 1 seed and make sure that they do, because it didn't work a few years ago. So I don't want people thinking she's got some magic hoodoo, voodoo, or whatever, because my prayer works too now. So, but all that being said, I'm being facetious. Loyola, look, man, they've put on a good show, and again, but a lot of that comes down to coaching. And again, this is the year to where coaching matters, the cohesiveness of your team, and the experience of your team playing together, that matters as well. And it's showing because that type of experience that for players who have been able to play together is working against big name programs, where the players, switch in and out. And so at the end of the day, I think they can make a run to the final. I got to look at the bracket again to see who they face, and I'm going to.
They're playing Oregon State, who, by the way, Oregon State is extremely hot right now. They won the Pac-12 to get into the tournament, and they're just beating teams left and right. That has been a huge surprise, is Oregon State, because they weren't good all year, but the Pac-12 obviously did something to get them ready for the tournament because the Pac-12 is crushing it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. They've, looking at their schedule. They're and Loyola's 26-4. So and they're 6.5 point favorites right now over Oregon State. But look, Oklahoma State was favored against Oregon State as well. Again, you get these teams. I think everybody stays in the bubble until they lose. So they're all in Indianapolis again, practice stuff like that. So I don't really see a true advantage. Just basically who comes out and executes. I mean, that's just basically at the end of the day, which teams come out and execute their offense and do what they're supposed to do. You got Villanova, Baylor after that, Oral Roberts in Arkansas Saturday, and then Syracuse and Houston. Houston is to me is the team that's most surprising. One, when they almost lost in the second round against Rutgers, barely holding on 63-60. But this is that's the team to watch out for. And if I remember correctly, I think they've been moved. I think they've moved above Baylor as a second team, as a second favorite to win the national title.
I guess because they have a slightly easier route, but even then,
man, I don't know, ain't nothing easy right now.
No, I was just gonna say nothing is easy at this point. These teams have proven why they are here. Darren, we do need to take a quick break.
Okay, hold on. One thing I gotta say.
Bills,
I know, but one thing, but we gotta give shout out to Quentin Grimes because Quentin Grimes has been balling for Houston. Obviously, he transferred from Kansas, but he played every minute, every second of that game against Rutgers, scoring 22 points and 9 rebounds. So he did what Sterling says is called buckets. He was 5 of 9 from the 3-point line. So eat that.
A walking bucket for Grimes. A very gutsy performance from that entire Houston team. We do have to take a quick break. This is Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City.
Dutch Boy's new Platinum Plus paint with Stain Shield technology has the performance you expect from a luxury paint at a price you didn't. Platinum Plus is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint in satin sheen. Superiority ranges from 24 to 50% depending on sheen selected. Platinum Plus keeps your walls looking new longer. Menards and Dutch Boy paint have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Savings or mail-in rebate. See store for details.
Schlotzsky's has just what you need to start the new year out right. All of their sandwiches and pizzas are made with their baked fresh from scratch sourdough bread. At Schlotzsky's, they offer curbside, drive-through, socially distanced dine-in, catering, and delivery. And remember, the Schlotzsky's $24.99 lunch and dinner special for a family of 4. Any 4 medium sandwiches or pizzas with 4 chips and 4 cookies for just $24.99. Available at all 5 area Schlotzsky's. Funny name, serious sandwich. That's Schlotzsky's.
O'Donnell Motor Company at Cameron would like to recognize and salute our veterans and local men and women in uniform. Let's remember them with our thoughts, prayers, and especially letters and packages from home. Our support will keep America strong. This message courtesy of O'Donnell Motor Company at 319 North Walnut Street in Cameron. Trust their years of experience for all of your auto repair needs. Call O'Donnell Motor Company at 816-632-2033. That's 816-632-2033.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Work hard and play hard with Easy Sport, Boulevard's refreshing rally ale. Infused with tangerine peel and sea salt, Easy Sport hits the shelves at only 99 calories and 4.5 carbs. This subtly salty, slightly tart beer packs a punch of flavor. Whether you just finished a run, a pickup game, or mowing the lawn, Easy Sport is a refreshing, guilt-free way to celebrate the everyday. Grab an Easy Sport, Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City, Missouri.
Weekends are for whiskey-soaked prime rib cooked low and slow, finished over an open flame, and boozy brunches with your besties at Red Door Wood-Fired Grill, Kansas City's #1 upscale neighborhood joint. We just have one piece of advice for when you join us. Come hungry. Everything here is made from scratch, including our legendary chicken and waffles and the best Kansas City strip you'll ever eat for $20. Prepare yourself to take a tender, juicy bite of perfection. What are you waiting for? Reserve your table today at reddoorgrill.com or download our new app.
Welcome back to Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com, Facebook Live, Twitter, Periscope. Darren,
Yes, sir.
you want to get into a little Chiefs talk?
May as well.
Might as well. Good time as any. Chiefs are bringing back Dirty Dan Sorensen. Dirty Dan, 1 year, $2.4 million, fully guaranteed. What's your initial reaction on the Chiefs bringing back the Dirty Dan?
I mean, it doesn't move the needle. It doesn't, it doesn't really improve the team. Doesn't really take away either. After making a big splash in free agency, getting Joe Thuney from the New England Patriots as a free agent, it's been really melodramatic. Obviously they tried to get a couple of the other linemen, but they ended up going in different directions. Rodney Hudson probably would have came to Kansas City had he been released, but they instead worked a trade out with Arizona. They weren't able to get Trent Williams. I know they did try to go all out for him. Perhaps, I guess they try to make a play for Juju Smith-Schuster. So, I mean, I'm not, with what they've done, trying to bring people back, I think they're bringing back Mike Remmers as well on the offensive line. There's no, I guess Sammy Watkins is probably going to be moving on. It's more likely moving on. I know he's going to be meeting with the Indianapolis Colts. I think Melvin Ingram was supposed to come in town today, but I think that was pushed back till tomorrow. I mean, right now, I'm not really impressed with the team, with the moves that they made in free agency thus far. They do have, I believe, from what I read online, I guess another close to $22 million underneath the cap space, which, again, I don't know how when you were projected, when you were $18 million over the cap, now you're $21 million under to where you can sign additional free agents. So I don't know what they do or where they go or who they're going to be going after, but they need to continue to try to improve. Because I will say, when I look at them and look at what other teams have done in the AFC, I do like the moves, and we talked about, I think on Friday, I do like the moves that no, we talked about on Thursday. I do like the moves that the New England Patriots have done, improving the offense, whether it's bringing in Nelson Aguilar and, of course, those tight ends and stuff, and they're not through spending money. And Bob Kraft said that, that they're in this thing to win. So, I like the aggressiveness that they're doing. And then there are other teams in the AFC that have also improved. Now, granted, to the extent that Kansas City is still probably the team to beat, you really see that the places that they really need to improve on is probably just the offensive line and perhaps their wide receivers. So, you can obviously improve in other areas on defense and stuff like that. But what was exposed in the Super Bowl was your lack of protection for Patrick Mahomes, and to an extent, no other options besides Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. When Patrick is trying to throw the ball.
Yeah, I still think that there'll be some veterans. This is now where the big splashes have gone. We probably won't see a ton of big splashes left, which can be a good two-way street. Maybe not the biggest names, but that also means the contract will probably be a little bit cheaper. And that's good for Kansas City. Some of the wide receivers still out there. I am very confident Kansas City will bring in another veteran wide receiver. All signs are pointing upwards as far as Melvin Ingram. That would be a huge boost to this defensive line. Probably not going to cost too much. Then back to Dan Sorensen. I like the Dan Sorensen move for a couple of reasons. Obviously, he's not some stud. We're not going to act like he is some elite safety. But what he is a very good third safety. And the amount of times Kansas City uses three safeties is through the roof. With Juan Thornhill not being 100% last year, who stepped up? It was Dan Sorensen. He was playing 100% of snaps at times. Dude is healthy. He's been available. He knows the defense. He's a pretty solid tackler. He's come up with some big plays time and time again. And for only $2.4 million, who else are you going to get on the open market who's going to be able to do what he does and with that type of consistency? I think for me, I like the familiar face. I know the grass is always greener and people want to bring in someone new, but I like what we know with Dan Sorensen. That's a fine third safety.
Well, we always thought he would be back. I mean, I don't think we were really worried about him going somewhere else because Dirty Dan fits the Chiefs' defensive system versus someone else. He could play safety for Kansas City, but that's not to say he can go play safety for the Dallas Cowboys or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he fits our system, and I don't think there was any real threat that he would leave. The question would be, again, would he get a pay raise, which I believe he did, or at least a pay bump. I think you said his contract was for 1 year. Is that correct?
Yeah, 1 year, $2.4 million, fully guaranteed.
Yeah. So I mean, look, and to be quite honest, if I'm Kansas City, if anything, and even the free agents, I'm looking to bring players in, like even the Melvin Ingram. He'll probably come in for 1 year because, again, with the new TV deals that is going to be going into effect next season, that's when the salary cap is going to explode back up. I mean, you're looking at the cap $182.5 million right now. Looking to be every bit of $220 million. I mean, that's almost $40 million that the cap is going to go up. So it's going to be a whole lot more money out there. And to be quite honest, the other thing is too, there really isn't a great crop of free agents compared to what we've seen, in years past and what may be coming up next year as well. Because if I remember correctly, I think Tyreek Hill is a free agent. Next year because I think he got a 3-year contract extension when he did that, and I think this is the year he gets. Yeah, because it's 1, 2 years. So he's going into, I believe, the final year of his contract in Kansas City. So we'll see how that unfolds. I don't think he's going to go anywhere, but I can see a scenario where he may want to test the market if the Chiefs don't tag him. So all that being said, look, man, this is a good opportunity, for Kansas City and for Brett Veach to utilize the money that she got in the salary cap and try to bring players in bring some veterans, especially on the line and the wide receiver position, on some 1 year 1 year contracts. And could you potentially, as much as I hate to say this, but and I'm only looking at it from how it would affect the team chemistry and whether or not it would improve the team. As much as I don't care for the guy, would you be able to work out a trade to get Odell Beckham down here? Down here. I mean, because I think he's pretty much back from that injury. I think he tore his Achilles, whatever. Then he's running 20 miles an hour on a treadmill. So I'd like to say he's close to 100% if he's not 100%. Again, I don't know, but look, we talked about Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was on his good behavior. We thought he wasn't, we thought I called him can't get right. He did what he needed to do. He did enough with Tom Brady and the Bucs and won a Super Bowl with them. Now he may perhaps sign back with them. He may try to sign somewhere thinking he can get more money and then go back and act the fool. I don't know. Odell Beckham, I think, being in Cleveland for the last couple of years has maybe gotten, I know he feels like it may have hurt his brand, but if he's about winning and winning a Super Bowl, if he came to Kansas City, I don't think he'd have a problem being a number 2 to Tyreek Hill, because what happens is Tyreek will get double. That'll give Odell a chance to get those catches and to make big plays. And then perhaps, the defense shifts over to him and then Tyreek can explode once again. So, I don't know. I mean, trust me, it took a lot for me to just say this right now, let alone to suggest Odell Beckham come to Kansas City in a trade.
He's not coming to Kansas City. That's not only is the contract very expensive, he's not coming to Kansas City. Tyreek Hill has this year and next year left on his contract, so he still has this year and next year. Cool. Marvin Jones going to the Jaguars, I thought was a little bit of a loss. I thought Marvin Jones would have fit in well, but he got the contract he was looking for down there in Jacksonville.
Hey, they got all the money, man. I told you that they had almost $100 million, so yeah, he was going to spend it. And again, to that coach's credit, Urban Meyer, he's trying to make sure that he gives his quarterback, he's giving Sunshine the best chance to win when he gets down there. So
I still think that T.Y. Hilton wouldn't be a terrible guy to look at. I think T.Y. Hilton could fill in the Sammy Watkins role. Yeah. I don't want to fill in the injury role that T.Y. Hilton has sometimes had, but I think T.Y. would make a lot of sense being the veteran presence at wide receiver. I think T.Y. would have a hell of a bounce-back season if he came here to Kansas City. I know he probably is going to get at least some offer from Indianapolis just based on his longevity there, and Kansas City may have to go over what the Colts offer, but I really want to see a veteran wide receiver come here in Kansas City. I like Byron Pringle. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I mean, Darren, are you ready for Byron Pringle to step up and be your number 2 wide receiver?
I mean, look, there is a chance they can actually bring back DeMarcus Robinson, but I'm not.
Okay, but even there, would you want DeMarcus Robinson to be your number 2 wide receiver? I don't.
Well, look, the only problem is that with either scenario is the fact that with the opportunity that they've had to step up in place Sammy Watkins, they really haven't. They really haven't lived up to trying to take the pressure off of Tyreek Hill. Now, granted, Tyreek Hill, to his credit and Patrick Mahomes' credit, he's still been able to get the catches as a number 1. But of course, it takes a lot of pounding on his body that he can only take so much as a number 1. When these other players do not get their fair share of catches, or get the opportunities, and they drop the passes, or they stop running their routes, or whatever, like a McCole Hardman or something like that, that becomes an issue. But they also have to be given a chance to actually perform as much. And it's kind of hard because if Watkins is there, he's using sometimes it looks like he uses a decoy, but then you don't know if he's going to finish the game out, if he's going to play the next week, if something's not injured and aching. So even then, a DeMarcus Robinson or Byron Pringle or even a McCole don't have enough consistency in the lineup and enough reps in the lineup to actually be or to be considered a number 2, because the player that you had as a number 2 could never stay, in and out of the lineup long enough for you to showcase it. So T.Y. Hilton, I think a lot of these veterans who are out here because of what you see on film and what they're able to do and some of the numbers that they have could possibly fit in with Kansas City's offense, because Patrick is going to get you the ball regardless of where you at 1, 2, or 3. If you're open, he's going to throw you the ball. The question is, A, can you stay healthy, and B, can your ego satisfy you enough that, hey, you're not going to be a number. Actually, you're going to be a number 3 option because it's Kelsey and Tyreek and Kelsey, and then it's whoever else. So you're actually going to come to Kansas City and be a number 3, which I think there was rumors about Juju. He didn't want to be that. Like, bro, you're not even being paid a number 1 receiver to go back to Pittsburgh. You should be trying to win and build your brand, because the best way to build your brand is by winning. And if you can go to a Super Bowl in LA with the Chiefs by doing that, that would have been a place for you to go. So everybody's not about winning. But to that point, any receiver that they bring in has to understand that he's the number 3 option.
Sure. The thing with Juju that I get why he didn't come to Kansas City is because he wants to get paid next year. He wants to get paid like a number 1 wide receiver, and if you get
probably
put in this offense,
nobody will pay him next year either because of what they think of him.
That's fair, but I think I gave him his best shot, and I think that is his best shot to at least get a chance to get number 1 wide receiver money. Once you become a number 2 or a number 3, that's what you're looked at, and that's what you get paid as in the eyes of a GM. Unfair or not, that is what GMs do. We know GMs try and drive down the price. Yeah, we see it all the time.
Yeah, but the flip side is that he was a number 2 with AB, won the team MVP. The team got rid of AB, and you had 2 years to prove you were a number 1 wide receiver, and you couldn't do that. So,
sure. No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. So it's hard for me to think that within this next year, somehow, some way, because GMs have seen what you put on film the last 2 seasons, to where you think you're going to convince me this upcoming season on a team that is not noticeably better. Ben Roethlisberger on his last leg, you could have shown that you could potentially be a number 1 wide receiver on a team that has a better chance of getting to the Super Bowl in Kansas City than you do in Pittsburgh, because you being a number 1 with Roethlisberger last year and what you might do this year is not going to prove anything, because people are still going to look at you, because if you come out and don't have a 100-yard receiving game and you've only had 2 over the last 2 seasons, as a quote unquote number 1 receiver, no GM is going to pay you Kenny Galladay or the Dallas Amari Cooper type money. You're crazy.
Sure. No, I'm with you. I just think that's what in his mind gave him the best chance of at least getting the most targets. And that's what he's going to do. And I'm with you. Not all players are in it for the championship. Some are in it for money. Some's in it for their ego. Some's in it for their family. They don't want to move. They like the location they're in. Like you said, living in Miami wouldn't be a bad gig. So everyone has their own reasons. That's not always going to be the same as, oh, they want to win a championship. I think that's what it comes down to sometimes. We as fans and media, we all think that's what every single player wants to win a championship. Some are in it for other purposes.
Well, we can only go off what they tell us. They tell us it's about winning championships, and then they re-sign or they go to Cleveland. Like, I thought it was about winning championships. Like, dude, seriously?
Yeah. No, exactly. Sometimes actions louder than words. Darren, we do need to take a quick break. This is Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City.
The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship at historic Municipal Auditorium right around the corner. Make sure to stop by any Kansas City area Price Chopper to pick up a coupon good for $8 off the price of adult admission on Monday, March 22nd. Price Chopper semifinals night. For more information, go to NAIAHoops.com today. The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship, a Kansas City tradition.
Are you looking for unique merchandise that makes you stand out from the crowd? Do you love Kansas City sports teams? The Cherry Company designs and creates fashion-forward gear for athletes, avid sports fans, and everything in between. Check out our famous Casey Mahomes denim jacket at cherrysportsgear.com or find it in stores in the Made in KC, Lee Summit, or Plaza location. Sport styles, sport local, sport Cherry. Want a 20% off discount? Mention 18 Sports in store or use code 810 online. Stay on top and visit cherrysportsgear.com today.
Hey, this is Stephen St. John, and I've been listening to how great Nate feels after going to Stretch Zone, so I had to try it out myself. And I feel fantastic. And my wife, Susan, she's had 2 years of daily back pain, which is already feeling better after a few sessions. Stretch Zone will help you relieve stiffness and soreness, increase and maintain range of motions, and enhance physical skills. Stretch Zone is located in Lenexa and Overland Park. For more information, check out StretchZone.com.
Jason Anderson here. I don't have to tell you that shopping for a home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make. At First Mortgage Direct, they serve you in the most honest and transparent way. Whether you're buying your first home or refinancing to get cash out, they'll unleash the power of the right mortgage by helping you secure an outstanding mortgage rate. Helping you buy a home with an affordable purchase mortgage is their top priority, factoring in loan amount and credit profile, as well as down payment details to provide a mortgage solution just for you. Finding the best mortgage starts with your lender. So get started with First Mortgage Direct as you take one step closer to home ownership. 855-222-5102 is the number. If you're ready to take the first step in your home buying experience, you can go to fmdloans.com today or call 855-222-5102. Again, that's 855-222-5102. First Mortgage Direct, the first step to a better future.
First Mortgage Solutions, LLC, DBA First Mortgage Direct, NMLS ID number 244476.
How does your website get noticed among the 1.7 billion on the internet? At Digital Lagoon, we've been making companies stand out since 1995. This past year, more people have used the web than ever before to find exactly what they wanted. When was your site's last facelift? Is it mobile friendly? Does it have an SEO strategy? Is your social media presence designed to drive traffic to your site? Digital Lagoon is the answer to all these questions and all your creative and marketing needs. Check us out at lagoon.com. That's lagoon.com.
Go, 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 shorty.
Welcome back to Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com, Twitter, Facebook Live. Darren, what do you make of all of this Deshaun Watson allegations that keep coming out and piling up just seemingly every single day, every single hour almost?
Well, one, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I'm not liking it. One, I'm not liking the silence from Deshaun side. I know he's got probably one of the top lawyers in all the country and all the sports or whatever. So I would like for them to hurry up and come out. Granted, it's not basically for my timetable because they're not winning the war of PR right now. The number of accusations and lawsuits, I think it's 14 right now, upwards to potentially 24. And as more and more lawsuits come out, the language gets stronger and stronger. I think the most recent one is calling him a serial predator. I mean, those are names that, those are things that sticks. And I don't like one being attached to a black man in the way that it's being attached to him as. So I would like to see. Well, I am interested to know when his lawyer is going to come out and hold a press conference or whatever. But I'm ready for them to at least defend Deshaun Watson, because right now, the silence is deafening. It's deafening because there's not much he can do or say right now.
Yeah, it's just not good for Deshaun Watson with everything going on surrounding him. 14 people, and then like you said, the latest was calling him a serial predator. That's just it's bad. Like you said, we need a way for everything to play out. We got to make sure everything's legit, but it's just not it's not looking good when everything's been so quiet on his end.
Yeah, one thing that I talked to Steve about last time we were at the NAIA semis, it's like, and I'm sitting thinking like, hey, bro, how many massages are you getting, throughout the season or throughout the week or the day or something? Because, again, to me, look, man, I went to Central, and so we had an athletic trainer. We had a couple of trainers there. Like, if you need a massage, they massage you. I mean, it just never in my wildest dreams would think, oh man, let me go hire a masseuse and fly him into town. I mean, because look, people spend money. It's got a lot of money. You can do what you want to do. I'm not someone that's going to fly somebody into town to have him give me a massage. And so look, we've had other conversations that relate to this, and we've had that off air because it's not really for on air conversation. But again, I want to give those women a chance to have their day in court, but I also want to allow Deshaun a chance to have his day in court as well to prove whether or not he's either a monster or someone who's being accused of something that he didn't do.
Yeah, 100% agree with you, Darren. This was Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM. Thank you guys so much for listening to us today. We'll be back tomorrow live. We're good all week. We're back on, Darren. We had a little hiatus Friday and Monday. We got to hang out at the NAIA tournament. We had a lot of fun. You heading back down there for the championship?
But of course, and make sure that people tune in tonight at 7 o'clock. You can listen to the NAIA Championship game over on Sports Radio 810 WHP.
Love that. Well, for Darren, I am Sterling Holmes. We are